I just did a fairly long video on preliminary title reports. Doesn't it sound exciting? Okay, maybe not, but if you're a buyer or even a seller, these are really important things to know about red flags in your title and escrow. And I'm just going to quickly tell you what they are, but if you want to know more in depth about them, feel free to reach out and I'll send you the video. But the biggest thing is always check the address because sometimes they're wrong. Always make sure the owner of the house is the right owner. Because what if their name is Smith or Johnson or Nguyen is like a 90% of Vietnam Nguyen? It's a great last name, but it's extremely common. How is a title held? Is it husband and wife? Because one time these renters tried to sell a home. And that was bad news. Who is listed on the title? So you want to know that. And when you look at that address, confirm it on the plat map. You might want to know what the APN stands for. There's four groups of three numbers, and I'm happy to tell you what that is. You just got to reach out and let me know. And make sure you get that color-coded map. If you list your house with an agent, have them order the preliminary title ahead of time so you can go through it and make sure that you haven't missed anything, like the current tax year. If there's postponed property taxes that you missed, the buyer is going to see that as a big red flag and may not even want to look at your house if it is listed and you and your agent missed it. CC&Rs are very standard. Those are covenants, conditions, and restrictions. You need to know what they are. They are just historical information, but some people get confused and think they're HOA, road association, totally separate things. But some CC&Rs will prohibit certain types of improvements. That's a red flag. And then easements. When you live out in the country, we have a lot of those. If improvements are contemplated by you as a buyer, you want to make sure you have access to that. Do not ask your agent to go to the county for you and look for permits and whatnot. That's your due diligence to do it because what if they talk to the wrong person and that person gives them wrong information and they give you the wrong information and that is bad news. I used to do that. In fact, I know after 4 years, do not do that. And attorneys have told me, do not do that. Your buyer has to do it. Doesn't mean I'm lazy. It's just better if the buyer does it themselves. Hope that makes sense. I'm so sorry I can't do it for you. But when you go to the county, you can learn all kinds of things. If you want to build the ADU, they have tons of plans for you to choose from, and they can tell you what size ADU and where you can put it on your land of the potential property that you might be buying. Okay, so agreements. Another red flag is commonly take the form. I'm reading this, as you can probably tell. Road maintenance agreements. I mentioned that. That's a mutual easement agreement situation, shared driveways, improvement agreements. They could bind the owner to certain actions. So that could be a red flag, and you want to learn all about that. It's super fun. I have a road association myself, and we've got amazing neighbors that do a fantastic job making sure our roads do not fall apart. And we don't pay a lot of money. Excuse me, not a big deal. Another one, a red flag to watch out for is trust deeds. They're very common. Escrow will order demand from the lender, and you just want to watch out for old ones because that could just hold you back if you are trying to close on a deal, and then it's going to take a while for them to go through it and get it taken care of, and everything's held up. You don't want to deal with that. Encroachments, they can be quite common. You want to know about that. If there's a fence or a driveway that you're sharing, so someone built a driveway on your property, put a shed on it, you need to know about it. But a lender may say, hey, I'm not going to lend on this property because there's an encroachment that exists. There's a fence crossing over your line that was surveyed. Sorry, I'm not giving you the loan. You need to know about that. A notice of violation is another red flag. Sometimes it can be recorded by the fire department. I think that's becoming more and more popular now. And the health department, local zoning enforcement, but the fire department, defensible space, the fire marshal has to come and look at your property if you're in a very high zone and sign off on it. And if you're a buyer agent and you want to do your due diligence and help out your buyer, make sure that's done for them. So actually, those are always red flags. And your lender will not accept these conditions, and a violation could will have to be eliminated. And then the local enforcement agency will have to issue a release upon closing. Good times right there. Court orders, judgments. These are for evil people that don't pay their child support or spousal support, you want to know about that. Any order of judgment is a red flag. And if you happen to forget, let's say you had to pay it and you didn't, you want your listing agent to get that preliminary title report ordered, look through, see the red flag, and say, hey, did you know you have this against you? Did you forget? You might want to pay that. If you want to sell your house, bankruptcy is obviously a red flag. Duh. And back to easements, PG&E usually has a right to go on your property depending on where you live and where they're located. But NID, if you have irrigation water that you buy, and that is Nevada Irrigation District, they have a right to go on your property and do maintenance and check things out. And PCWA, if you're a little further south, like me, I'm in North Auburn, I have NID. PCWA is Placer County Water Agency, and they will want to look at your property just to make sure that their water flow is going good if they do go through it. And then notice of pending actions. Pendens is another name for it. That's a huge red flag. That means that someone has a lawsuit pending, and your property could be a legal document that they might need to check out. So you want a statement of information and get that done. When you get your preliminary title report, it comes in items. I would not, you could call them, your escrow officer, when you find out who they are, but I would email them so you have a record of it and directly address the item that you have a concern about. Again, I already mentioned that red flag about your neighbors with, I mean, not your neighbors, the client's name, Smith, Johnson, Garcia, Martinez. You want to make sure that that is the client and that your escrow officer does their due diligence and finds out that they are not that client, then you need to bail. Okay, what else do I have? Solar contracts. Okay, you all know that Solar City is out of business. And so if you see that, you need to do some digging. They will no longer talk to an escrow officer. So you, as the buyer or seller, have to talk with them directly. Don't ask your agent to do it again. You got to get that cleared up with them. And because sometimes they have that contract and a financing agreement, you want to dig a little deeper. Let's say that your client has a new HVAC. What if they have a new roof? They've got a new pool pump. They got new windows. You got to be a little bit of an investigator because they could have put that all in a package. We actually did that. We had an Empower government loan and we did all that. We put it all together. We just wanted solar. And they're like, hey, do you want new windows? Well, they were from 1985. Yes, we want new windows. Do you want a new pool pump? Yes, it's costing us tons of electric, higher amounts to pay for our electric bill because it's so old. Yes, we'll take a new pool pump. Hey, did you know you have 1 inch of insulation in your attic? You might want a foot because your house is not very well insulated. Yes, we took that too. So there you go. We got all that together and we had a huge loan, like 70 grand. But then 2022, 3%. Remember that? So we paid that off, refinanced, and done. Boom. But what if we didn't have that opportunity? That means you, as the buyer, might have to take that on. So you want to know all about it. Just so you know, let's look up another word real quick. I know what it is, but I just, forgot because I haven't done this in a while. PUD is a HOA, Public Utility District. No, sorry, just kidding. Public Urban Development. So Lincoln Crossing is, I'm going to look that up again so I can read it to you real quick. Urban development. Lincoln Crossing, I've shown a lot of houses over there. It's really nice. They have a beautiful community center. Great if you have kids, big pool. Well, that is a type of real estate development that has residence, commercial, and or industrial uses all in a single project that shared amenities like private parks, recreation facilities. You should know that. It's also, these homes are all single family residences that you could think, oh, that's a condo. They're all attached together. No, not the case. Where else was it? El Cid Estates. I sold a house there. It was attached to two other homes. It was not a condo. It was a single family residence within a PUD, PUD, and it is a HOA. So you want to get those documents as soon as possible. And look through those, get them ordered because you don't want to get ready to close and the documents aren't ready. And honestly, I will say your escrow officer will do that for you. I'm just looking through my notes. I think I'm done. So there you go. Let's see if I can get back to it and shut this baby down. I hope you enjoyed this lovely talk on the preliminary title report. And it's a very important document. And I think that all listing agents should have that in the MLS for potential buyers to review, as well as the buyer agent to review and the listing agent to review. We all need to look at this stuff so things can flow well. We're not nosy. We just need things to flow well. You know what I mean? There you go.